So looking back, 2 years ago, we were all here in Whitman Hall at Aldridge School, and our trust was just 16 months old at the time. We were holding our very first MAT-wide staff conference. In fact, it was around 5 months before I officially started as Chief Exec. But I was presenting to you some of what I thought would be shaping the next couple of years for us all, in our schools and in our wider sector. Well, there may have been a few things that I didn't see coming, but one of them was most definitely a global pandemic. So we fast forward a couple of years, and Whitman Hall today is a makeshift dining hall. And COVID has shaped just about every aspect of our work, challenging us in our professional practice and giving us perhaps one of the most unwelcome, uncertain and disruptive years of our careers. But our trust back in 2019 really was being established, and it was being grounded on really good and strong foundations. And while I accept that pioneering something new means that sometimes we get things wrong, and we certainly don't get things as right as we would want to first time. But together we have made a great start as one charitable trust in really unprecedented times. And as we look back to our first staff conference day, it was the first time that I used the phrase increasing opportunities and improving outcomes, a phrase that would go on to become our mantra, our mission, our common purpose. And we reflected on history's record of St. Chad in the ancient kingdom of Mercia, setting up learning communities with bonds of kinship. And we celebrated the unique history of our individual schools, our individual identities, something which is and remains critically important to us. While at the same time I was making it clear that we are on a journey towards maturing as a trust, meaning that we were graduating from merely cooperating and collaborating with each other into being a family of schools truly committed to each other. So back here in 2019, before any of us had heard of COVID-19, we were all together in this one space, not looking at computer screens or looking into webcams, but we were together and we were enjoying student performances as we demonstrated some of the shared values we have in applauding our students as they presented and performed their work for us. So we considered the opportunities that we have together to extend the A-level option choices for our students beyond what is possible with small groups in our individual schools. And that day, Daniel Vors performed a couple of movements from Tartini's Concertino for clarinet, in part of what I think went on to become his A-level music recital. We also considered that day the crisis of identity that is faced by some of our students, and what we anticipated even back then at the time to be an increased challenge with social, emotional and mental health. We watched a piece of devised theatre by Kim White and Jaheem Pinder, looking at identity, which itself was part of a really powerful anti-knife crime performance that students had developed with input from the parents of James Brindley following their tragedy and their loss. And back in 2019, pre-COVID-19, we talked about our ambition for the future and our hope for the future. And together we witnessed a solo dance performance by Talia Gomez entitled Hope from the Darkness. That day, we witnessed 3 student performances with messages that are as relevant now as they were back in 2019. So looking back, it can feel like a year stolen from us, from our plans and from our hopes. But I'm encouraged that what was true then is true now. We are stronger together, and our common purpose in helping the different communities that our schools serve, helping them recover, it's the same now as it was then. It is to increase opportunities and to improve outcomes for every one of our students.